Carter. This is Nick Wright. We have a big Monday show after a big Sunday showing in the NFL from some of the NFL's best. OBJ had a big game, but his comments before and after, they're big news. Vikings got revenge in an NFC Championship rematch, in the battle for bragging rights in Texas no longer belongs to the Cowboys, at least not this Monday morning. Cowboys at Texans, and we are going to pick this one up in overtime. 3rd and 1, Ezekiel Elliott gets stuffed for no gain. Jason Garrett decides we're going to punt, and that decision would cost him as Deshaun Watson finds DeAndre Hopkins for the 49-yard gain. That play would end up setting up the game winner, Ka'imi Fairburn. 36-yard field goal for the Texans, who go on to win this game. Dallas and Houston both with 2-3 records now. Here is the Texans quarterback, Deshaun Watson, after the win.
He's a playmaker. He's one of the best, if not the best receiver in the NFL, so we rely on him. In those situations, he came up big, and playmakers make plays whenever, we need them. And that was a situation where we needed to make a play, and I threw it up for him to make a play, and he did what he had to do.
A lot of people, put him in the box sometimes and think that he's just a running quarterback, but you see the amazing throw that he made at the end. That was an unbelievable throw to put touch on the ball like that. Just seeing how the defender undercut the pass, great ball.
Obviously, it's frustrating. You lose your 3rd road game straight for the most part. And then, as you said, it's the offense hadn't gotten going on the road, and defense, especially with them giving us all the chance they did, making the big plays down there in the red zone, holding them to field goals, and keeping us in the game, and we weren't doing our part. It's very frustrating.
All right, CC, it's hard for us to fully blame the Cowboys, at least with their game plan coming into the game. We said, what the answer is. The answer is to run Ezekiel Elliott, especially when he's got more than what he had the first couple games, which was 16 carries. They gave him the ball 20 times. What happened? What was the key to the Texans beating this Dallas team?
NFL defenses are going to start to pack the box, put a lot of people at the line of scrimmage. This is what the Dallas Cowboys are going to face. Nick and I, we went back and forth last week talking about it, and Nick was like, listen, don't listen to the game plan. Go against your instincts. If they load the box up, still run the ball.
Do it anyway.
That's what they're going to have to do. That's what the Texans did to them last night. So we can't blame the Cowboys as far as the attempts, because Zeke had the 20 rush attempts. But as talking to you, Jenna, we can blame them for not giving him 21. And on 4th down and 1, you got to be able to give Zeke that last carry. On 3rd and 1, they end up stopping them. On 4th and 1, with the game on the line, I think a little more than 4 minutes in the overtime. Like with these overtimes being 10 minutes, you have to kind of speed up your decision making. Like, you can't depend on potentially getting the ball back in that situation.
And if you do get the ball back, it's going to have to drive.
You're going to be in worse shape.
Right. You're going to have to drive probably the length of the field with an offense that hasn't moved the ball at all. And so, and I will maybe slightly disagree with both of you on this. He did get 20, but he had back-to-back carries twice the entire game. They never once handed him the ball 3 straight times. The one drive they scored a touchdown on, which started, by the way, on the 16 of the Texans, so it's not really a drive. But that drive, he touched the ball the first 4 plays of it, once through the air, 3 times running it, and they end up with a touchdown. Like, I still don't think they gave him the ball enough, but particularly as you're talking about, on that play that could keep the ball in their hands to potentially go win.
4th down in overtime. And to me, it made me think back to 2016. And, Nick, I said this in 2016 when they had home field advantage. I thought that was the Dallas Cowboys with Dak in his first season, with Tony Romo as a backup, Zeke having an outstanding season, offensive line intact. I thought that was their best opportunity to win a Super Bowl. And I think in 2016 said, well, how is that relevant to last night's game? In 2016, they would have ran Zeke on that 4th down.
Or at least have Dak Prescott, who's a big guy, let him sneak it in.
As a dual-option quarterback, like you did the Texans a favor by taking Dak and Zeke off the field. You're right, Jenna, a quarterback sneak. We saw other teams doing quarterback sneaks or coaches deciding. The Rams.
They did what I've been begging teams to do for so long. We can win the game right here. We're up 2, rather than wait, trust our defense. Let's try to win the game right here. And by the way, the other aspect that has to go into this is Jason Garrett was watching the same game we were, which was our offense has not moved the ball the whole half. This was, up to that point, the punt, the second best drive they had going since halftime. The Cowboys, after halftime, here were the yards gained on their drives. 16, 2, 15, 13, 45, got them a field goal, 0, 0. Then to overtime, they've already gotten 33 yards. They're actually moving the ball with a chance to take the lead or win in overtime.
And, Nick, one thing that had you upset was Dallas, say their first 15 plays, those are already scripted plays. That was drive number 1, drive number 2. They went up and down the field, making big plays in the running game and in the passing game to get them the 6-0 lead. After that, Jason Garrett, Scott Linehan, to your point, they didn't make many adjustments after that. So their most productive offense was those first 2 series of the game.
And there were just moments in the game, beginning of the drive that spanned from the very end of the third quarter to the beginning of the fourth. First play of the drive, Zeke gets 11. Second play of the drive, he gets 15, gets called back because of a holding call. But he's actually finally getting chunks. Never touches the ball again. On their opening drive, they were moving the football, but they end up having to settle for a field goal. 3rd and 2. They don't run Ezekiel Elliott. Third drive of the game, Zeke goes for 14 on the first play of the drive. Never touches the ball again. Dak hasn't, the number was 200. I'm not going to up it to 230. Dak hadn't thrown for 230 in a half a season's worth of football. You have to know, even yesterday, it's like, oh, what did Dak do? Oh, 208. So you have to know who your quarterback is, who you're playing, and the reason the overtime component matters here is if you go for it on that 4th down and you don't get it, okay, you are more likely to lose. But if you punt it, you're basically playing for a tie. So you're only risking that half game as opposed to trying to go for the win.
All right, let's talk about Zeke for a second. Besides stuffing the box, how were they actually able to contain him? Give us the answer for all future teams going to be playing the Cowboys coming up.
Well, for one, the Texans, you got to give them credit. Their run defense was very, very good. When you have Clowney at the right defensive end, J.J. Watt playing the best football we've seen from the former defensive MVP multiple times, best football he's playing. When you're playing against a one-dimensional Cowboys team, that's all they were doing was playing the run. They were hoping that they were going to pass the ball so that they could tee off on them. Dallas's offensive line also is not a great pass-blocking offensive line, and you don't think they're wide receivers. Who's the threat from a wide receiver standpoint? And back to the sequence for when they decided to punt, on 3rd down, because they throw to Cole Beasley and get 8, 9 yards to make it 3rd and 1. On 3rd and 1, they run an odd formation where they put Zeke at the fullback, put Cole Beasley at the tailback, and they run Zeke on a dive. From a creative standpoint, 0.
And what that is, tell me if I'm wrong, Steve, because I'm watching Dak after the play and I'm watching where Cole Beasley goes. It's like they wanted to trick the Texans into thinking they were running an option with Beasley. Because watch, Beasley runs out like it's an option and Dak goes out like it's an option.
Let me tell you what the Texans were hoping. They were hoping that they pitched it to Cole Beasley. Okay? That's not if you're telling me your whole season's on the line, the game's on the line, you're going to put Dak at fullback. So you take away his creativity, you know he's not going out on a pass. And then Cole Beasley, is he your most explosive player? Put Tavon Austin back there. And then potentially run the option with Dak. That's something that I would like to see on that 4th down call compared to punting.
Here's the only way in my eyes that call is defensible. If you've made the decision we're going for it on 4th. On 3rd, we're going to try to catch them off guard. We're going to do something different that we know we won't lose yards on because we're giving it to the damn fullback. We're basically doing a fullback dive, the play most guaranteed to go between 0 and 2 yards. It doesn't go more than that, you're not going to lose yards.
Or if this is the old Dallas Cowboys and they're giving it to Moose Johnson because they're worried about Troy, they're worried about Emmett at the tailback.
Sure, but if you know you're going for it on 4th down. But what's going to be forgotten in this game is the Cowboys defense played a marvelous football game. Jalen Smith was flying around like he was at Notre Dame again. Credit to Chris Collinsworth for making it a point of the broadcast because he keyed on it and he was right. This is the fewest points the Texans have scored in regulation in any game all season. The Texans were 1 of 6 in the red zone, including 2 times they were inside the 5-yard line and were held to a total of 3 points. The Cowboys defense played well enough to win. And once again, the offense, Scott Linehan, Jason Garrett, and Dak Prescott deprived them of a chance to win that game.
Which is what Dak Prescott said after the game. Our defense kept us in the game, and Leah's offense lost it. What was the grade you gave to their creativity?
0.
0.
0.
Yeah, the Russian judge tried to give it a 1, but I snatched that one.
Coming up.
0 points. On a scale of 100.
Another NFC East team having some problems. Has Odell Beckham Jr.'s frustration with Eli and the Giants finally boiled over? That's next on First Things First.
Mine has.
You're